Why is it sad, you may ask? Because a lot of the people on this show are highly traumatized, very vulnerable people, and they're just looking for someone to accept them and love them for who they are. I was watching the season with a friend, and he brought up a quote which I think explains a lot of these people perfectly. The quote goes, "When you are not fed love on a silver spoon, you learn to lick it off of knives," from the poet and author Lauren Eden. I had never heard of this quote until my friend brought it up while we were watching the show, so shout out to you. Thank you very much. And I think it's just so fitting. I think it's very fitting for the people on the show because, I mean, we're going to get into it, but some of these are just so fucked up. So yes, we will be recapping season 9 of Catfish, and it's just crazy that they are still making new episodes. And while watching the season, they are still casting for, I guess, new episodes the next season. So if you or somebody you know is getting catfished, right into the show, boo. You never know. Neve and Cammy just might be hitting up your phone and you'll find out if you're getting catfished or not. So let's just jump right into it, starting with episode 1, featuring Jenny and Elijah. Jenny is 36 years old and lives in Belton, Texas, and met Elijah while live streaming on an app called Meet Me. She mentions that she's been single for the past 10 years and explains that 11 years prior, she was diagnosed with encephalitis and suffered brain swelling. So for a lot of that time, she was recovering. She had to learn how to walk, talk, bathe herself, just basic needs all over again. And then 3 years after that, she was diagnosed with brain cancer. So she was going through a lot. So she had no time for a man and wasn't even thinking about that. Like, her libido had dropped way, way low. So she wasn't even interested in that. But after meeting and chatting with Elijah, she noticed that her sex drive started to kick back up in gear. So she was hoping that maybe this is the real deal. So some classic Catfish red flags. He FaceTimes, but it's only a black screen. So she's only showing her face, but she doesn't see anything. She just hears his voice. He only lives 2 hours away, but always gives an excuse as to why they can't meet up. One day, Elijah confesses to her that he has been catfishing her and that he's actually 21. And he sends her a picture of some random guy who looks nothing like Elijah. And she admits that she's not really attracted to that guy, so she doesn't really know how to feel. And the next day he hits her up again and says, "Oh, that's not me either. I just sent you that picture because I'm not ready for a real relationship and I'm just trying to push you away." So at this point, Jenny's like really confused. But after a short break, they go back to talking every day. And then randomly he sends a random picture of this third guy and says, "Oh yeah, this is my friend. He said you were cute, so I just wanted to send him a picture to see what you thought." So now they're thinking that this third guy might actually be Elijah. So with the investigation, they find a Facebook page that matches the picture of the guy in the last picture, the older guy. And they also find his Instagram, but it says that he lives in New Jersey. He has the same first and last name, Elijah blank, whatever. So it's looking like that this is the guy. So after they share this with Jenny, they end up calling Elijah, and he's just being really weird on the phone call, just bullshitting, just saying that this isn't the right time and he needs to sleep on it. But they confirm that he is in Texas and he only lives 2 hours away. So they do eventually plan to meet. So at the reveal, it ends up being the 21-year-old. So that second picture that he sent, it actually was him. He says all of his feelings for Jenny are real, and he started catfishing because when he was on Meet Me as himself, people weren't that nice to him and he wasn't getting a lot of responses. And he didn't want to catfish Jenny, but he had a really rough year, so that's why he randomly decided to come clean and send a picture of himself. He also shares that he sent the picture of that last guy, the older guy, because he was nervous that Jenny or maybe one of her friends would find the real him if they searched his name. He just searched his name and found the first guy that came up, and he did that to like try and trick them. It worked with like Neve and Cammy, you know, like they didn't really find his page. They found the last guy and they thought it was him, so I guess it worked. Elijah says that he hopes him and Jenny can have a real relationship because his last IRL relationship started because he catfished her. And he knows what he did was bad, and he doesn't think that should ruin their foundation because everything that he told her was true besides his looks, his age, and stuff like that. Jenny says she can't date a 21-year-old because she feels like she has nothing to relate to him on. And also she just can't get past the fact that he lied and the fact that he thinks that it should just be okay, that she should just get over it pretty much. So she just encourages him to be on the apps as himself, you know, give himself a chance and not to lie and do the catfishing or whatever. And That's pretty much it. They go on their way. So, the first episode is not too bad. It's like a typical Catfish story. It is kind of fucked up that Jenny was in recovery for so long. She went through so much physical health stuff, which I'm sure really affected her mental state. She seems like she has a good head on her shoulders. She like isn't going to put up with bull crap, even though she was catfished for however long. But yeah, I'm rooting for her, hoping everything's okay. Episode 2. Kay and Tyreek. Kay is 19 from Fitchburg, Michigan, and hopes of meeting her love Tyreek, who's 18, lives in upstate New York, and they've been talking for the past 2 years. They met on a friend app, and she mentions how they relate on playing video games, anime, and just being nerdy in general. She feels really connected to Tyreek because he's been there for her while she was in foster care, all the hard times that she's been through. About a month before this, they actually planned to meet in Times Square because she was on like a family friend trip going to New Jersey, so she just wanted to stop by to see him. And of course, he just completely ghosts her. And then a couple weeks after that, he calls her and randomly breaks up with her and just says that he needed time to himself. So of course, this left Kay pretty sad and confused, but then a few weeks later, he just started hitting her up again. Like he didn't just break up with her and like they're just back to normal. So this is very confusing for Kay because she really likes him. She has very strong feelings for him, but the fact that he's being wishy-washy is just confusing. So the Catfish red flags. Of course, he ghosted her and he broke up with her, but then came back. And he also won't FaceTime, and she only has like 2 pictures of him, so who knows? With their investigation, they find an Instagram page, but it's pretty inactive. And they go through his tagged pictures and they see one of his friends. So they reach out to that friend just to see if he's mentioned Kay to him, and he says no. They also send a picture of who we think Tyreek is, and he says, oh man, no, that's not Tyreek. Like, I'm sorry she's getting catfished. Like, I hope everything's okay. Of course, Kay is devastated when she finds all of this out because it seems like she's been through a lot and she's just still healing through all of that. So she feels betrayed that she confided in him so much, and apparently he's lied to her about a lot. So they call back Tyreek's friend so they can give Tyreek a heads up that they're going to New York. And his friend says that he'll try to get Tyreek on board so that they can end up meeting. They eventually meet. Tyreek is just super nervous. He's super anxious. He does come out to eventually meet Kay, and he explains that he never FaceTime because of his insecurities. He talked about how when he has FaceTime with people or just talk to people, showing his face a lot, that they just end up bailing on him. And I guess he felt like it was because of his looks. So he became very insecure about that and didn't want to FaceTime or meet up. And he says that he called to break up with Kay because he felt like he just couldn't be a great guy for Kay. He felt like he needed to work on himself, which I think is fair, but I feel like if you're going to do that because you need to focus on yourself, you just need to be honest with the person. Like, don't just up and disappear and then come back like nothing is wrong or nothing happened. But they are very young, so I'll give them that. Kay says she still has really strong feelings for him, and he seems to give a really sincere apology. So Kay says she'll be there to support him. And they have a hot second of alone time. They kiss. And right away, Kay tells Neve and Cammy, all right, y'all got to get up out of here because we need some actual alone time without the cameras, if you know what I mean. Good for them. I mean, the episode ends with them being an official couple. They're long distance because it says that they hope to be together in real life again soon, but this seems to be a happy ending, so good for them. Episode 2, going strong. Moving on to episode 3, Muhammad and Ashley. Muhammad lives in Cali and Atlanta, and he writes in after he's been talking to Ashley for the past 5 months, who lives in Atlanta. I'm sorry, but did you people that was? Who Ashley is? Because I spotted it right away, but we'll get to it. He grew a strong connection to her because she explains that she has a transportation company and he likes her drives. He's also an entrepreneur, has different businesses. They also relate because they practice the same spiritual beliefs. And Ashley explains that she just moved from Atlanta to LA. So it seems like they have a chance to be in real life and actually be together. And even Cammy, they're asking to see pictures of Ashley, and right away, they know who it is. And like I said, I knew who it was right away too. It's fucking Charli D'Amelio. If you don't know who that is, she's like, I think the most famous TikToker. She has like the most followers on TikTok or whatever. I don't know. But baby girl is only 20. Which I'm just like, I don't know, like when you see a young person, you know that they're young, right? Like this guy is 33. Did he see her and like not really think that she was young? On the profile, to be fair, it said that she was 27. But I don't know. There's other instances too where like the age gap is pretty questionable. The guy is like way older and the girl is like young. I'm like, why are we not turning our heads at this? Why are we not questioning this more? But that's a different discussion for a different day. Cami asks Muhammad if she sounds like a younger white girl on the phone. And Muhammad says, yeah, but she sounds like more urban, kind of like a reversed Oreo. If you don't know what that means, just think of an Oreo. No, think of it reversed. When I grew up, I've heard the term inside out Oreo, so do with that what you will. So Neve and Cami suspect, since her Catfish profile was wildly fake, that she was doing it to maybe spy on an ex so that nobody would match with her because they probably knew that she was catfishing as Charlie D'Amelio. But during their investigation, they searched the phone number and it comes back to a Facebook page to someone named Misty Fix, who lives in Atlanta, and they find a website for a trucking company. They also find a co-owner named Simone Harris, who seems to fit the bill for who Muhammad is talking to. She has multiple businesses and the phone number is also tied to her. But the thing that's tripping them is that she's like such a pretty girl. So they're like, why would she be hiding her face? So maybe they're thinking that her and Misty like share a work phone and maybe Misty's actually talking to him. So when they show Muhammad their findings and they come across the Simone Harris page, Muhammad says that he knows her and that he's done business with her in Atlanta before. He says how he doesn't think it's her though because they've talked on the phone and he would have remembered Simone's voice. But of course, people can change their voice. If you're black, you know, your little corporate voice. So that's very much a possibility. So they reach out to Ashley and they make a plan to meet in LA the next day. And as they suspected, she made the Catfish profile to spy on an ex, and she didn't want his friends to possibly see her on there or people that she knew to match with her. At first, Simone is like kind of being weird, saying that she only connected with Muhammad so that they can rekindle their business ship. Which is just like, I don't know how she would have expected that to happen with a Catfish profile. Like if that was true and she saw him on the app, she could have just like randomly hit him up. It was like, hey, like, are you still in LA? Because I live in LA now. Like, I don't know. That was weird. Like, it's obvious that she like had feelings for him, but she's just not admitting that. But she does eventually apologize for invalidating his feelings or whatever. And she says that she would love to work with him again because they had a really good business partnership. But I'm sure, as you can imagine, they never talked again. Episode 4 features Joey and Marissa. Joey is 27 from Gulf Shores, Alabama, and reaches out after he's been talking to Marissa for the past 4 months. She randomly added him on Snapchat one day, and she says that, oh, hey, we matched on Bumble one time. He doesn't really remember, but because she's pretty, he doesn't mind and keeps on talking to her. But pretty quickly, she began asking him for money, like money for Ubers or money for food delivery. Joey also explains that he's been single for the past 10 years. There's no real explanation. Like, he wasn't like, I don't know, at least he doesn't share like anything super traumatic that happened. He just says that he has been on dates, but nothing ever really developed into anything serious. I worry that that might be me. Like, I've only been in 2 long-term relationships and I'm 28. My last long-term relationship ended in 2021. So honestly, it won't be that surprising if it's 2031 and I'm still single. Ugh. Anyway, so let's go over the Catfish red flag. She lives a few hours away, but of course will make excuses to not meet or just will completely go ghost. She keeps asking for all that money via Cash App, and he sent her almost $2,000 just in 4 months. Like, bro, what are you doing? And also her Snapchat name says Cassandra and not Marissa. So I just don't understand. Like, there are just so many obvious flags and people choose to ignore it or won't question it. And they'll just take that and accept that. Like, no, you are worth so much more. Know how much you are worth and don't settle for less. Don't forget that. He's also sent her money to a second Cash App with the name Teresa. And she said that it was her mom's account because her account was frozen, I guess. So they're looking through the transactions and he had just sent her $300 the day before they came to meet him. And he explains how his car note is 22 days past due, but you just decided to send homegirl $300 the day before when your car note could have been paid off? Dude, what is you doing? So with their investigation, they add her on Snapchat and act like they are just a guy that they matched with on Bumble before, and she kind of takes the bait. They just act like somebody who has money, who wants to spoil her, and right away she sends the Cash App, but it's with the name Marissa. So with Joey, after they share their findings, they reach out to Marissa, and she sounds kind of excited to meet Joey. I guess that's a good sign. But on the way there, they get a video from Marissa. It's the actual girl that he's been chatting with, and she says, "Hey, it's Marissa. I just want to say sorry to Joey because I won't be able to meet. I just got cold feet. I don't think it's gonna work, so sorry." Very random, but of course they still try to reach out to her. She's just not replying. And since Joey has sent her food before, they have her address, so they just decide to pull up. So her cousin Vea answers the door, and they say that Marissa's not there because she didn't know that they were coming. She tells Marissa to come through, and when she comes, it's, obviously the girl in the picture, but Marissa confesses that she's never talked to Joey. She explains that Vea actually matched with Joey before as herself on Bumble, but they eventually stopped talking. And Marissa knew that, I guess, Vea wanted to get back in touch with this guy, so she let her catfish him. Granted, Marissa did not know that she was catfishing this guy to scheme him, to get money. I don't know. It's just still weird. Even if she didn't know that she was using her pictures to get money and to scheme and scam, that shit is still weird. I don't get people. I really don't. This is why I'm going to be single for the next 10 years. But long story short, this is how Vea makes her money. Even on her real Bumble account, when she was talking to Joey, she was doing it to make a bag. She'll say hey, do you want to buy my premium and whatever. And Joey was doing that from him, but I guess he eventually stopped. And Vea didn't like that. Girl, if this is your job, it shouldn't matter about this one guy. She even says that she's getting money from at least 100 other guys. So why was she so pressed to talk to Joey? I don't know. She doesn't seem remorseful. She doesn't seem apologetic at all. She's just pretty much well, you were a cool person to talk to, so we can still be friends, right? Disgusting. That girl obviously has some problem. And this is what I mean, that it's both sides of the coin that are fucked up, because obviously he's so vulnerable and has such low self-esteem that he was just accepting being used for money over and over again. And this girl doesn't care about hurting people. Episode 5 features Alasia and Kwa, and I will just say from the start that this is a bit of a heavier episode. If you don't want to hear that, just skip to this timestamp to go over episode 6. Alasia is from Abilene, Texas, who met Kwa from Philly 10 months prior on a dating app called Tag, and got connected after he was commenting on one of her lives. Of course, Alasia was very attracted to Kwa in his profile, but she also grew very connected to him because they were able to be vulnerable with each other. She confided in him about a lot of dark, deep stuff. I'm not going to go over a lot of it because, like I said, it's very heavy. And I feel if you want to hear it, I feel you should just watch the episode because it's coming from her. She explains by the age of 12, she was put in the foster care system and she had to look over her and her younger sister. And when she was 15, she was just tired of being in that situation. She ran away and ended up being kidnapped and sex trafficked. Thankfully, she was able to get away because the last guy that bought her, she just pretty much begged for him to help her escape. And he gave her $50, dropped her off at the bus stop. And that's how she was able to get back to her sister. So it's only been 3 years since that happened. And she's very young. She's only 18. So I'm sure that situation is still very triggering for her. So with the investigation, they search the pictures and they find that Kwa is a publicly known guy. His pictures seem to be everywhere on the internet, so right away they know that he's a catfish. His phone number also points to a North Carolina number, not a Philadelphia number. Asia also tells Neve and Cammy that her sister was talking to Kwa's brother because they were all going to make a group trip to Atlanta. Alasia's sister Anaya was talking to Kwa's brother, whose name was Stefan Urkel. And right away Cammy spotted that Stefan Urkel is Steve Urkel's alter ego in the show Family Matters. We know that Kwa's brother is fake. Fast forward, they end up in North Carolina and they meet a guy named Rod, who is some random guy. They didn't know who it was. They didn't find this guy in their investigations. and he confesses that he is Qua and he's been talking to Alasia. He also confesses that he was also talking to Anaya as Stefan, whatever. And he only did that in efforts to try to get closer to Alasia. Like, he thought that if they were on FaceTime together, that she would see him and be like, oh, he's cute, whatever. And it's just like, dude, she's already talking to Qua, so why would she be interested in you? But anyway, I digress. But also, I just want to point out, how old is this man? Because they never point that out. He sure don't look 18. He looks like he's around my age. I'm 28, by the way. So I'm like, excuse me? And they've been talking for 10 months, almost a year. So baby girl was 17. How old is this man? This is what I'm saying. Like, they just really brush past stuff like that. Maybe they knew it would have been weird if they disclosed his age, so they just like brushed past that. But baby girl, she's been through so much. Like, I can't take it. I really can't. Rod shares why he got into catfishing. He explains how one day he was walking out of the barbershop, he got shot in his stomach. And then one time he was also got shot in the arm due to an altercation. So he was stuck in bed recovering for about 3 months. And during that time, his self-esteem just plummeted. He didn't really have anyone to talk to. And as a catfish, as Qua, I guess he just like had that confidence back. And that's how he met Alasia. He didn't mean to catfish her. He didn't mean to hurt her, but she really gave him a sense of peace. He explains that he has feelings for her. He hoped that they can just work past it and that she could give him a chance. But rightfully so. She says that she can't get past the fact that he's lying. She doesn't know what he'll lie about again in the future, which is a very real point. I've thought about that too. Like, if I was catfish and somebody said, oh, I only lied about my pictures, it's just like, bro, like, I don't know what else you lied about. I don't know what else you're planning to lie about. So, no. So, yeah, she wishes him the best, and they go on their way. Episode 6, Leandre and Russia. How you feeling? We're halfway through. You got your snacks? What you munching on? Let me know. Leandre, 32, is from Maryland and met Russia, who's 26, who lives in Tennessee on IMVU 4 years back. If you don't know what IMVU is, it's like a simulation game, like an alternate reality. I don't know. I didn't know adults played the game, but I guess so. They met because Leandre was working at her salon in the game. After being co-workers for some time, they grew a close bond. They started dating in the game and also in real life. Some classic red flag, but of course she would duck any plans that he had for them to meet up. She also ended up ghosting him for a whole year. Of course she came back after that time and they picked right back up like nothing even happened. They eventually getting married in the game and in real life. We think everything's going good, but then just a few months prior, she ghosted him again without any warning. But at this point, it's been 2 whole years since he's even talked to Russia. But of course, she popped back up. And that's when he decided to reach out to Catfish. So when he meet Neves and Cammy, they meet his entire family, his mom, his sister, and his 7-year-old son. They ask if he still has a relationship with the mother of his child. And he explains that his mom was actually passed away in a car accident when his son was just a baby. He says how Russia was there for him during that time because he was already on IMVU just to make friends and like as a pastime to begin with. So from that tragic point in his life, he got closer to Russia, and that's when he ended up falling in love with her. I know people have feelings about when people find another partner after their partner passes away. I don't think it's fair for them to stay single. I also find it kind of questionable that he was already talking to this girl and like pretty much got feelings for her right away after his wife passed away. Again, he was in a very vulnerable position. You know, feelings are weird. Emotions are very tricky, especially when trauma and all that stuff is in play. So yeah. So with their investigation, the phone number comes back to a 26-year-old named DeAndrea, who is in North Carolina, and they also find a related Russia Smith email account. They also find a SoundCloud page for a singer named Russia Smith, which seems to check out because she told him that she was a recording artist. The only thing that's kind of suspicious is that they find a Cash App that's linked to a DeAndre, which makes them think that maybe he's actually talking to a guy. But they reach out to Russia so they can plan a meeting, and she's being kind of sassy. She's being kind of weird. She's just like, you know, I'll book my own flight tomorrow. Like, I'll be there. The next day she pulls up and it's her. It's the girl, Russia Smith. And she explains that she actually is a recording artist. That's why she goes by the name Russia and not DeAndrea. Also, it's just kind of funny that their names are DeAndrea and Leandre. And she explains that she actually had deep feelings for Leandre and that she thought of them as being in a relationship until they had falling out after one of their conversations. She explains how she told him that she was going to go audition to be a professional cheerleader, and he did not like that at all. He was being a little salty, being a little jealous. He pretty much just didn't like the attention that she was going to get. And she said, I had to move accordingly. Yes, girl, do you. Follow your dreams, get your career, get that bag, and F a man. I know that's right. The only thing was she just wasn't really clear that was why she left. During that meeting, they have the opportunity to clear things up, and she gives a genuine apology, and they go their separate ways. Episode 7 features Arturo and Laura. Arturo is 28 and is from LA and met Laura, who's 21, from Desert Springs. This is what I mean. 21? Like, I'm 28. I would never, ever go for a 21-year-old. And not to mention, they met on Instagram in 2021. Time of this recording, it's 2023. So that means that she was 19 when they met. He was 26. Yeah, no, thank you. That shit is weird. I don't like that. But anyway, that's just me. So like I said, they met in 2021, and in 2023 is when they became official. So by this point, they've only been dating for about 10 months. He feels connected to her because they both relate to being bullied. In high school, he got bullied a lot because he's only 5'4". And she says that she doesn't care. Like, she likes him for who he is. But of course, we got to go over the red flag. They don't even talk on the phone. So of course, no FaceTiming, and they never hang out. There's always an excuse as to why she can't hang out. And I think they're only like a couple hours away. And right before Neve and Cammy reach out to him, he explains that he got a weird phone call just a few nights before from an unknown number. It was from a guy who was really angry, saying that he needs to be careful because Laura doesn't need to be exposed, and she doesn't need to possibly get kidnapped or be drugged because he spoke to Laura. So he checks in on Laura just to make sure that she's okay. She explains that everything's okay, but he just really wants to know what's going on. He also explains that he would send her a bunch of food on DoorDash and would also give her Ubers to and from work. So with their investigation, they find her socials, but it's really bare, and she only posts on her Instagram story, but her videos don't have any audio. Like, you don't hear her talk at all. It's just like her face. And they don't really have anything to go off at this point. Arturo texts her and just like, it's pretty much like, hey, I'm here with Catfish. It's pretty much now or never. So the next day they drive down to Desert Hot Springs. So recently he ordered her an Uber to the bar. So they go to that bar to do more investigating. They talk to the bouncer and ask if they've seen Laura there the night before, and he recognizes her. He says that she was only there for a short amount of time, just only had a few drinks, and that she was there with a guy. And it seems like they were there on a date, so not looking good for Laura. Arturo messages her again and is like, hey, I'm at the bar. You were here with a guy, like, just calling her out and just being like, we need to meet so we can just clear things up. She ignores him again, but after Neve and Cammy reach out to her, she replies right away and just like, okay, I guess if we're gonna do this, let's do this. When they meet, as I already said, it's actually her. She explains that she was so nervous to meet because she has a speech impediment. She explains that in the past she has been broken up because of her speech impediment. She apologizes that she was just kind of using him for Ubers and food and whatever, but she does have really strong feelings for him. She explains that she wants to be his wife, that she wants to have his babies, so her feelings seem genuine, and this makes Arturo happy, but he just wants to clear up like the whole bar situation. And she mentioned that she just went to the bar with her cousin because she wanted to talk about possibly like being on the show, how she was going to prepare for that. And the phone call that he had got randomly that one day was one of her coworkers. I don't know if she asked him to do that. She doesn't really explain. During the reveal, she's not talking a lot, I think because she feels really insecure about her speech impediment. But she just says that one of her coworkers called Arturo to try and scare him off. It's a happy ending, because like I said, she wants to have his kids and whatever. And at the end of every episode, they do a 2-month check-in. I haven't been going over that because it's pretty irrelevant. But in this situation, when they call, Arturo and Laura are together and they reveal that she's pregnant. Cool, I guess. Congrats. I don't know. Good luck with that. Episode 8, Zara and T. This episode's kind of light, so we're just gonna fly through this. Something fun for this episode, Max is back. If you're a fan of Catfish, you know originally the show was Neve and Max. They were the original co-hosts, and I think Max left about 5 years ago to pursue his director dream, so go off, Max. Zara is 29, she's from Orange, New Jersey, and she met T, who's 32, from upstate New York on a feederism app. If you don't know what feederism is, it's a kink. There's a feedie and a feeder. The feeder will feed the feedie in hopes of like pretty much getting them as big as they want them to or as big as they can. I don't know, the point of being stuffed or whatever. She explains that she grew attached to T because on the feederism app, she only really got like really sexualized messages. And I guess she was looking for something more serious, which is just like, if you're on a kink app, that's going to be kind of hard. I don't know if anyone has tried to find a partner on the app Field. Good luck. That's all I'm going to say. But she says T, you know, would actually check in on her. It wasn't just like the kink stuff. Obviously, their relationship is based on the kink because they met on the app. But he is just very caring and seems to have a real emotional connection for Zara. Some red flags: they don't FaceTime, only texting and phone calls. Also travels a lot for work, so it's been pretty hard for them to meet up. She mentions that when they met, T was actually in a relationship, but he recently became single a few months ago. In the investigation, they search his phone number and they find a guy named Tariq, and they find a related Facebook page which shows that he's 42, he has 4 adult children, and is possibly still married. So they go to New York and they meet, and the reveal is actually a totally different guy. Not the guy from the Facebook page that they thought, and of course it's not the guy in the pictures that Zara had. But he's being kind of weird, saying how he thought they weren't exclusive because of when he was on the app, he was in a relationship and he wasn't looking for anything serious. But by this point, he has developed genuine feelings for Z. Z is also kind of being weird because she's like, oh, like you're old enough to be my dad, but I also have a daddy kink. So like you could have told me that, we could have played that up too. Like, all right, girls, oh, okay, go off, I guess. Go off, queen, you know, do your thing. She's also like, why did you hide your race? Like, you didn't have to catfish as a different race because I don't discriminate. I like all flavors. Huh? Girl, I hope you don't discriminate because he's black, you're black, like, I don't know. Anyway, different discussion, different day. But he apologizes, you know, he wants to make things work. She forgives him. But after 2 months check-in, she says she's just not into T anymore because after the reveal, she just felt like things were different. She says she's focusing on herself, so good for you, girl. You know, hoping the best for you. Episode 9 features Christian and Chantel. Christian goes to school in Montgomery, Alabama. He's 23 years old. And he met Chantel, who's 22, from Rockville, Maryland, on a social networking app. They don't mention what it is, but they've been dating for about a year. He randomly found her on one of her lives. She was cooking and she's a chef. A big red flag is that they don't FaceTime, and she also doesn't show her face in any of her lives, even though she is a baddie. Like, he follows her on Instagram. She's very pretty. Like, when I see girls like this, I'm like, I don't know if I want to be you or date you. Like, she look good. So doing an image search, they find Chantel's real Instagram, and it's a girl named Jonah, and they don't think that this is the girl that he's talking to. Earlier, Christian mentions that he was kind of suspicious that Chantel was fake, so he reached out to other guys that were in the live and was like, hey, like, do we think Chantel's fake or whatever? And Neve and Cammy end up reaching out to one of those guys, and he explains that he wasn't really interested in her because she will only like try and talk to him and try and selling one of her plates. Because like I mentioned, she's a chef. They lived in different states. So she would be like, oh, I'll ship you the plate. And he also gives them a different phone number for Chantel. It comes back to a Detroit phone number, not Maryland. So when they reach out to Chantel to plan a meeting, she's also being weird. She's saying that she doesn't want to meet up. There's no point. And if they want to reach out to her, then they should be interested in supporting her business. And she's like, $75 deposit or no food. So they send her the $75 via Cash App. They go up to Detroit and they meet Micaiah, who is the real Catfish, but before she admits it, this girl is lying bad. She's lying so bad, and I think this girl is like 22, so like, okay, she's young, but I feel like this girl is like a serial liar. She's saying that Chantal didn't come because she had other deliveries, which is like, girl, if Catfish is in town, you would make this one delivery a priority, but okay. She tries to say that she only made the Catfish profile to promote her business. So yeah, Christian asked her like, did you have feelings for me? That's all I want to know. She says yes, and it's super awkward, and yeah, that is that. We are almost at the final stretch. Episode 10, Cash and Kenya. Cash is 31 from Brooklyn, New York. Why did I say it like that? I'm tired. I've been talking for an hour. He's been talking to Kenya from Atlanta, who's 25, for the past 5 months. They met after she commented on one of his pics on Instagram, and she ended up sliding into his DMs and complimented his music because he's a recording artist doing rap and R&B music. Honestly, Cash seems like such a character, like in a good way. He seems like he would be like the life of the party. He's cute, you know, he has nice style, he's tall, he's charismatic. He's funny. Like, damn, am I into Cash? No, but I just say all of that to say, like, it seems like he wouldn't have a problem finding someone in real life. But yeah, like, he doesn't really share anything deep besides the fact that him and Kenya both care for family members that have cancer. So that's something that they can relate on. But yeah, I don't know. You know, Kenya, she's also very pretty. So yeah, I think it's sweet that he is like really into this one girl. The classic red flags, she doesn't FaceTime him, and he also planned to meet her a couple times. He bought her a plane ticket to New York and she didn't show up. And even after that, he still planned a trip to ATL. He flew out there, he stayed at a hotel, and she ghosted him when he was there. Like, dude, that's just so crazy. Like, after booking the flight for her to New York, it would have been done. Like, this is what I mean. Like, why do y'all give all these people a second chance that you've never even met? But okay. So he says that like every time that she went ghost, he would block her, but she would reach back out through a texting app. And for him, that showed that she really cared. With their investigation, they searched the phone number, and it comes back to a 26-year-old in Atlanta named Ebony. And when they search her Facebook page, they seem to know her. They're like, oh, she looks really familiar. So they go back to the pictures that Cash sent them to like do their investigation. And they have a video of Kenya at a hookah bar with one of her friends. And they find that the friend in the video is this girl, Ebony. She posted a picture of her wearing the same outfit from that video and everything. So they're like, okay, it seems like he's talking to this girl, Ebony, and possibly Kenya's in on it too, because, you know, like, how is she sending him the video, but it's this other girl's phone number? When they call her to plan to meet, she's also being weird. She's just being like pretty shy and coy. And she also says that she'll just fly out on her own dime. She's like, I'll be there tomorrow. They kind of don't have a lot of hope because she ghosted Cash twice, like I said. But the next day comes and she shows up, and it's Kenya, not the girl Ebony. She explains that when her and Cash first got connected, when she slid in his DMs on Instagram, she was just getting involved with her ex-girlfriend, which is why she ghosted him when he came to Atlanta and why she never went up to New York. And she says before she flew out to LA to meet him, like in Catfish, that she just broke up with her ex-girlfriend because she wasn't happy, and she came to a realization that she had to choose between her ex-girlfriend and Cash, and she chose Cash. What? Some of y'all just really don't need to date. Like, what are y'all doing? And I think rightfully so, Cash is confused and upset. He's like, you don't love me or the girl you was with. Like, you was playing both of us. She confesses that she still has feelings for him, and she just wants them to, you know, work it out. Cash is just like, you know, I still love you, I still have feelings for you, but you're just gonna have to give me some time. So they decide to go on a date that day. And at their 2 months check-in, we find out that they just never talked after that day because their date was pretty awkward. They were just arguing about petty shit. And Cash realized, you know, this girl lied to me anyway, so it just wasn't gonna work. It just wasn't gonna work from the beginning. Episode 11 features Jeremy and Alex. Jeremy is 30 from Bradford, Arkansas. And he met Alex, who's 31 from Kentucky, 6 months ago on Facebook dating. Jeremy explains how he lives in a small town and he's the only gay guy in his area that he knows of. So it's pretty hard to meet partners in real life, and that's why he's only really resorted to online dating, and that's how he's met his partners in the past. So some red flags: Alex was supposed to drive down to meet Jeremy, and during his drive he was giving updates like, oh, I'm at the gas station, you know, I'm this far away, whatever. And when he was about an hour away, he just up and went ghost. And Jeremy didn't hear from Alex for the next 5 days. So he filed a police report just to make sure that there were no accidents that day, or to make sure, you know, Alex was okay. And he didn't get in touch with Alex until he made a texting app number to call him and just be like, hey, it's Jeremy, I just want to make sure you're okay. And Alex just up and ghosted him again. Alex would also share like different pictures. Like one day his beard was really short, one day his beard was really long. He also mentioned that he had a son. So one picture he showed him, he was a toddler. The next picture he showed him, he was like an 8-year-old. So it's just like, bro, like, what's going on? But 2 months after Alex went ghost, he popped back up and told Jeremy that he got cold feet, which is why he never met him that day. That he actually was driving down, but he got nervous and decided to drive back to Kentucky. So after he apologizes, they went back to dating. Randomly, Jeremy did his own investigation and did a reverse image search and found that the guy Alex was a catfish. I think he was like an OF model or whatever, like a completely different guy. So he tells Alex like, hey, I know you're fake. I just want you to be honest with me. Please send me a video saying, hi, Jeremy, this is Alex. So he gets a video of the real guy, and he's kind of weirded out because he's not really attracted to him. He doesn't really know how to feel. He just feels pretty unsure about everything at this point. So with their investigation, Jeremy passes along a Cash App because he sent Alex money one time. And it's a girl's name. It's like Jocelyn or something. And they think that's kind of weird. But apparently Alex said that it was his aunt's Cash App. And they end up finding a Facebook page for this girl, Jocelyn. And something seems pretty off. But they quickly put together that this guy, Alex, is actually the girl, Jocelyn, in those pictures. They're just heavily edited and filtered. So when they search his phone number, it comes back to a guy named Carl. And they find his real Facebook page confirming that it's him, the guy who sent him the video, revealing himself. And they also find side-by-side pictures to show that the Jocelyn account is his and that he just edited himself to appear like a woman. But when they call Carl to meet, he's being very weird and he just like hangs up. But when they're texting him, he's just like, I don't want Alex to be upset. I don't think he's ready to know the truth. But when they end up meeting up, it's Carl, as they expected, but it's a very awkward meeting. He explains that he has feelings for Jeremy and was just nervous of being turned down because that's pretty much been his case with dating as himself in the past. He was just very quiet, very awkward, and it seems like he just didn't know any better. Like, he knew he's lying, he knows what he's doing is like hurting the other person, but he just like can't really internalize it, if that makes sense. He also shares that the Jocelyn Facebook account is his drag persona, and he started catfishing after high school because it just made him more comfortable to have that persona. He really wishes to continue a romantic relationship with Jeremy. Again, he just doesn't seem to understand how betrayed Jeremy would feel and why it would be hard for him to move past it. They encourage him to just be honest with himself and to stop the catfishing and to just give himself a chance and to see how far that could take him with, you know, meeting other people, and they go their separate ways. After 2-month check-in, Jeremy explains that Carl is still catfishing. He's still using the same Alex account and will even continue to reach out to Jeremy as Alex. This is what I'm saying, that like something just like isn't all the way there. And, you know, it's pretty sad to see. I hope he's getting the help that he needs. I hope he's getting the support that he needs, because shit like that is pretty sad to see. And like no one deserves to be like stuck in that mindset. But yeah, that episode made me sad. And here we are, the last episode that's finally out. This episode features Isla, who's 24 from Acworth, Georgia, and she met Gabby, who's 25 from Long Island, New York, on a lesbian dating app, and they've been dating for over a year. Isla explains that she actually grew up in New York. She has family there, so she would just bounce back from ATL to New York. So that's how they ended up matching on the app. They grew close because they both have sickle cell, which Whoa. That was crazy for me to see, because if you don't know, I have sickle cell, and it's like crazy to see it in the show because I love Catfish, and sickle cell just isn't really talked about in the media. And sickle cell is a chronic illness, so you deal with it every day. She explains how she's in chronic pain every day, and she's been on her own since she was 16, so she's just been advocating for herself since that time. And like I said, she grew really close to Gabby because that's something that they can both relate on. When they're both just not having good days, or when they're both in the hospital, they have each other to support. And you know, that's really important. Like I tell you, my heart watching this episode. But anyway, so some red flags. When they FaceTime, Gabby will cover the camera, like she doesn't show her face, or she'll just leave her on pause. And she'll also just up and ghost, like she'll just not talk to Isla for a few weeks at a time. And then she'll come back and say like, oh, sorry, I just needed a mental health break. They search her phone number and find a girl, a 26-year-old named Julissa, who's in Staten Island. And they find a Facebook page with the same name, but it only has one picture. And it's a close-up of her nose and her lips, but it looks really similar to Gabby. But they don't really know like who's Julissa, is that her real name? So when they call her to plan to meet, Gabby says she doesn't know if Isla is ready to hear the truth. They end up going to Staten Island and they meet, and it's Gabby. It's her. It's the real girl. She's not a catfish. She explains that she is technically married, but they've been separated for a few years at this point. She also explains that when she first met Isla, she was in a relationship with a different girl, but they're no longer together now, but she's still in love with her ex. So the next day, you know, they clear the air one last time, and she just is upfront with Isla. She's like, I'm so emotionally unavailable right now. Like, I can't be in a relationship with you. Like, that's why I would just up and ghost you for weeks at a time, because, you know, I still have feelings for my ex, but I don't want to lose you because I really appreciate your support. And you know, obviously it means a lot to her because they can both relate to sickle cell. Like, she wasn't lying about that. And she feels like she doesn't have anyone that's like can really support her through that. And when I tell you this part got to me for real. Because dealing with sickle cell can be very isolating. Like, some people are just very ignorant to that stuff. So I definitely understand why she would want to keep at least a friendship with Isla, because they have that to relate on. Isla is upset that Gabby was lying about so much, but she's like, you know, I will be there for you to support you, because I understand how lonely it can get. So yeah, that's pretty much it. At their 2-month check-in, it's actually pretty crazy because they were both in the hospital at the same time. They were both in the hospital for 2 weeks. Like, bro. But at least they were there to support each other and be there for each other, you know, dealing with sickle cell. And that is that. So yes, like I said, these are all the episodes that are out right now. I fucking love Catfish. If you want to hear me talk about more episodes, please let me know. If you didn't watch my last episode about Catfish, please check that out. I talked about a hidden episode from season 2, I think it was. And there are also 4 other hidden episodes that I found. So if you want me to talk about those, please let me know. And if there's anything else you want to hear me talk about, share that as well. If you like the video, make sure to like the video. And if you aren't already subscribed, help me reach my next goal of 5,000 subscribers. I will see you in my next video. Bye.